Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Cooper's Violet. This is video number 2 of clean and unclean foods. Alright, so before I continue on this video, I just wanted to mention what Jesus said for all of you who think that we are to not follow the law of the Torah or follow the law of clean and unclean foods or just things in general. So if you turn to Matthew chapter 5 verse 17 through 20, it clearly says here, "Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till the heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven." So just first off, when Jesus says in verse 18, till heaven and earth pass, well, that means that we're supposed to follow the Torah and the laws of the Bible until heaven and earth pass. And if you're still breathing on earth right now and you're watching this video, then you know you're on earth. Therefore, earth didn't pass. And since I'm not in heaven yet, I know heaven didn't pass either. Okay, so that last verse, verse 20, when Jesus says, "For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven." Now we're just going to take a slight break off from clean and unclean foods, and we're going to explain this real quick. So, the Pharisees. For those of you who don't know, the Pharisees knew the law well and were around when Jesus walked the earth. On the outside, they looked beautifully righteous, but on the inside, they were spiritually dead. These people, for the most part, were not religious at all. They only gave the presence that they were righteous. And there's many people like that in today's society. So, Matthew 23:14, Jesus says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation." So, to know what the scribes were a group of men who made copies of the Word of God and were charged with the important task that the copies they made were pure and exact. However, as important as their jobs were, they were identified with the Pharisees in their hypocrisy. They were properly teaching the law, but they were not following the law themselves. And so for Matthew 15:8, "These people draweth near unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me," as Jesus said. So some examples of false teachers would be T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, and Arthur Lew White, who is the writer of the BYNV and many others. So just like I've said before, there's many teachers who are dressed as sheep, but they're inward ravenous wolves. So if you haven't seen that video about the false BYNV or know who Lou White is, by the way, his actual name is Arthur Lou White. Check it out in my other videos. He is deceiving many people, as well as Joel Osteen is. You know, when Hurricane Harvey hit, you know, I was in Houston, and Joel Osteen didn't want to open up his church, and nor was his church flooded, because he just cares about all the millions of dollars he makes, and he doesn't really care about the people. And so he ended up eventually opening it when so many people started complaining. And so, but yeah, that's another subject for another time. So let's go right back into clean and unclean foods. So this is going to be based off of Leviticus chapter 11, verses 20 through 47. If you want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. Alright, so verse 20. All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them ye may not eat. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. So my understanding is you can eat those. So we're at verse 23. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the evening. And whoever carries of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Everyone who toucheth them shall be unclean. And whoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you. Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until evening. So dogs, cats, just like I said before, ferrets, you know. And he that carries the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean unto you. So, like I mentioned before, if you have a pet cat or dog, it's an abomination to touch them or lay where they have touched. And like I said earlier, when I found this out on my own, I was sad at first, but then I thought about Jesus' death and what he sacrificed for me and many of you, and thought that if he could bear the pain and torture that he went through, then I can follow the law and not have cats and dogs anymore. And just like I said, you've seen them in my previous videos, and I'm not just gonna just give them up. But when they pass, that's the end of them. So just like I said, touching them, holding them, etc. is unclean. So we'll continue at verse 29. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after its kind. Speaking of the mouse, I hate mice and rats. They get in your house, they annoy you. I mean, cockroaches are annoying too, but one of the things about following God's laws 100% is that God promises to you that you won't be bothered by mice, you won't be bothered by cockroaches, you won't even have ravens eating your dead body when you die. If you're on your property, you won't have to worry about beasts bothering you or threatening you because you know that you'll be following the law 100%. Alright, verse 30. Sorry, it's hard to see the time frame I got going on this video here. It's so tiny for this borrowed device that I'm using. So, you know what? I'm going to continue verse 30 on this next video. This was the end of video 2. Thank you so much for watching. This is Cooper's Violet. Please like, subscribe, and share.